Hello and welcome to WMLT's first show of the semester. I'm Marilee McAuliffe. After weeks of turmoil in Egypt, the military launched a plan to swiftly enact constitutional reforms, an important step to get the embattled Arab nation back in working order. The military has formed an apolitical and independent constitutional committee to propose constitutional reform within 10 days. According to Wael Ghonim, the activist who led the overthrow of former President Hosni Mubarak's regime. After this plan is forged, Ghonim said in a statement on Facebook, a referendum would be held on the measures within 2 months. State-run television said a retired judge, Tariq Bashir, will head the panel. It also reported that Mohammed Tintawi, head of the Supreme Council of the Armed Forces, met Tuesday with the panel to make sure plans are on target for the reforms. This is the latest transitional step in Egypt, where the military has been in charge since February 11th. In other news, here on campus, students living in the dorms are used to hearing the fire alarm, but now students are going to have to listen to it a lot more. Alicia Evans has more.
106 Brush 3B responding down on I-77 to stranded motors.
Everywhere we turn, there are signs to remind us of what to do in case of a fire. There are signs near the elevators, exits, doors, and even small reminders that we may pass by on a daily basis, but never pay attention to. As students living in dorms, we've all become accustomed to the fire alarms. But what other precautions could students take? Assistant Fire Chief Derek Belcher has some tips.
Mainly it's just to try to make sure they keep their house uncluttered in the dorms, so to speak, try to keep the rooms uncluttered. Obviously adhere to any of the rules that are set in place by the college as far as, as far as candles and extension cords, things like that.
Because fire safety is so important at Concord, they've had fire drills all throughout the semester. However, now they're going to be happening more frequently. Housing sent out this paper to prepare the students. This paper was given to students in hopes to warn them of more fire alarms in the future. In the past, fire alarms would go off randomly because of student activity, such as cooking or smoking. However, BRIM, West Virginia's Board of Risk and Insurance Management, suggests a little more practice in addition to the accidental alarms.
But BRIM suggested this year that we should have both the accidental fire alarms or the accidental evacuations. We should also train with those, but we should also have a set fire alarm to go off in the resident halls monthly, where most of our staff could be there all together and then train for evacuation processes. So this would be a fire alarm that we purposely set off for practice reasons.
Even though the fire alarm in the dorms will purposely go off at least once a month in addition to the accidental alarms, students must cooperate and exit the building each time it goes off, taking into consideration the precautions if the situation were real.
We try not to surprise students unless it's inevitable to surprise them. So we gave them a letter in the hope of alerting them that we were going to this evacuation practice.
So if you're living in the dorms, follow all the safety precautions and prepare yourself for a little more practice. For WMLT News in Athens, I'm Alicia Evans.
Concord had a special event Valentine's Day. I was there where free gifts were being handed out to students. Yesterday, Valentine's Day, was the start of the first round of 500 condoms that will be distributed on campus. The free condoms are being provided by the Great American Condom Campaign and will be handed out to students throughout the spring semester. One student, Greg Stamp, helped to distribute the condoms.
Pretty much we're working with Student Support Services and the Great American Condom Campaign to promote safe sex and safe sex awareness.
The GACC partners with Trojan to give away 1 million condoms each year to selected universities across the U.S. Once a school has applied and been selected, they are considered a safe site, and Concord is now one of them.
Personally, I think it's a good idea that they give out condoms because some kids won't go buy them. They don't either want to spend the money or don't want to get up there and get embarrassed. It just helps prevent pregnancies and it helps kids out a lot.
Though some students on campus think distributing condoms is a good idea, others think it's a bit of a stretch.
It's like when you get coupons in the Sunday paper. It kind of persuaded me because it was, pointing me in that direction. So coupons being the condoms might persuade people, I got a free condom, what am I going to do with it?
Though some students oppose, the Student Support Services does not have any plans to stop handing them out. Reporting for WMLT News, I'm Marilyn McAuliffe. Several buildings on campus have leaky roofs. Concord officials have been fighting one leak in the North Tower's lobby for years. To name a few others, South Tower's 9th floor and the resident director's room also have leaks of their own. The library has significant damage to the roof in multiple locations. Other buildings on campus, such as the Fine Arts Building and the Administration Building, also have leaks that are scheduled to be replaced in the near future. Director of Housing Rick Dillon said most college campuses with old buildings have several that leak. The ideal scenario would be to have new or mostly new roofs on your buildings. Dillon also added that roofs for buildings this size are very expensive. Though pricey, Concord should see new roofs and repairs in the next 2 years. Now here with this week's Concord Minute is Travis Sims.
Last semester, a Concord student was sexually assaulted on campus. This student is not alone. At least 1 in 4 college women will be the victim of sexual assault during her academic career. Officer Don Smith of Concord University aims to change this cultural norm. April kicks off Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and Officer Smith is working closely with Concord staff to schedule events for awareness. Concord's music department just had its last performance of their adaptation of Mozart's The Magic Flute. The opera, traditionally set in Egypt, was staged at an insane asylum due to set and time constraints. The cast put a tremendous amount of effort into the opera, and students and staff alike enjoyed the wonderful performances. In other news, the CU Eco Club will be hosting a documentary series throughout the semester focused on pressing issues facing our generation. Every week, a documentary will be shown in Admin Building, room A237. Last week's film is titled King Corn and covers many relevant issues related to the growing and use of corn in this country, including genetically modified seeds and powerful herbicides. Well, that's it for CU Minute. Back to you, Marilee.
That was Travis Sims with the CU Minute. Stay tuned. We'll return for more WMLT News in just a moment. Welcome back to WMLT News. Members of the U.S. House of Representatives met in Beckley on Monday to discuss reauthorizing federal surface transportation programs. The House Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure meeting was organized by West Virginia Democrat Nick Rahall, who is the ranking member on the committee. Rahall says reauthorizing the Transportation Equity Act is a vital step forward for the nation. The act would provide funding for many projects in West Virginia, including the Coalfields Expressway and King Coal Highway. The act is due to expire on March 4th of this year. Here with this week's Ticket or Leave It is Tricia St. Clair.
Thanks, guys. The King's Speech is a new movie that has won many awards. This British historical drama stars Colin Firth, Geoffrey Rush, and Helena Bonham Carter. King George VI, played by Colin Firth, tries to overcome a lifelong stutter that was caused by being abused by a nanny as a child. His wife Elizabeth, played by Helena Bonham Carter, finds Lionel to help her husband. Lionel Logue, played by Geoffrey Rush, is the King's Speech therapist that has many unconventional ways of fixing a stutter. While working together, they become close friends. After King Edward VIII abdicates the throne, King George relies on Lionel to help him make a radio broadcast at the beginning of World War II. This is a very good historical drama and depiction of King George VI. I highly recommend that you go see this movie. If you are looking for a movie that will give you a good laugh, then go see No Strings Attached. This romantic comedy stars Ashton Kutcher, plays Adam, and Natalie Portman, plays Emma. Longtime friends Adam and Emma have sex one morning and start worrying if they ruin their friendship. They then make a love pact to have casual sex without falling in love with each other. Can they keep up this casual relationship without falling in love? Head to the movies and find out. For more information, check your local box office or go to fandango.com. That's it for this week's Ticket or Leave It. Back to you, Marilee.
The 53rd Annual Grammy Awards were this past Sunday, and there were some winners that had been expected and some that came as a big surprise. Winning Record of the Year and Song of the Year, along with 3 other awards, was Lady Antebellum with their new single, Need You Now. Lady Antebellum beat out big names in both categories, such as Eminem and Jay-Z. Eminem did not go home empty-handed, however. He won Best Rap Album and Best Rap Solo. Lady Gaga walked away that night with 3 awards, one of which Best Female Pop Vocal Performance, beating out Beyoncé and Katy Perry. The surprise of the night came with the Album of the Year award, when an independent rock band from Canada called The Suburbs won with their album Arcade Fire. They also beat out many favorites, including Lady Gaga and Katy Perry. One of the first performances of the night was a tribute to the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, performed by Christina Aguilera. Other performances were Mick Jagger, Barbra Streisand, and Bob Dylan. Lady Gaga also performed in her usual bizarre fashion by popping out of an egg to begin her performance. And now, here's Brett Dodrell with a sports update.
Thanks, Marilee. Concord University defeated the West Virginia State University Yellow Jackets on our home court this past Thursday night by a final score of 93-90. West Virginia State sits as one of the top-ranked teams in all of the West Virginia Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, but ran into an offensive buzzsaw on this night in the form of Corey Neely, who went off for a game-high 21 points. Concord shot an astounding 57% in the first half compared to only 50% that was shot by West Virginia State. Concord basketball now sits at an overall record of 10-13 following a loss to Ohio Valley and an impressive victory over Glenville State. The Mountain Lions will play host to Fairmont State this Saturday in the Carter Center at 9 o'clock. And that's it for sports. Back over to Marilee.
For the past 7 years, Animal Planet has been airing the cute and cuddly version to the yearly anticipated Super Bowl. However, rather than football players, this sporting event is played with 10 dogs on either side. The Puppy Bowl has become a yearly tradition on Animal Planet, where they assemble 20 dogs from shelters and rescue centers from across the country and have them compete for the title of Most Valuable Puppy. This year's Puppy Bowl was aired 3 hours before the actual Super Bowl, allowing Super Bowl fans to get a glimpse of the canine sporting event. Also, this year's Puppy Bowl came complete with chicken cheerleaders and feline-inspired halftime shows. It was truly the ultimate sporting event to watch with your tail-wagging companion. That's all for WMLT News. I'm Marilee McAuliffe. Please tune in again in 2 weeks for more from Concord University.